Rain lashed the windshield as James drove the narrow, winding road that cut through the forest. The wipers beat back the storm in steady rhythm, but it did little to clear the view ahead. In the passenger seat, Marla stared out into the gray mist, her phone dead in her lap. In the back seat, Leo fidgeted with his camera gear, the flickering glow of a charging light bouncing off the car's ceiling. None of them spoke for a while. There was a quiet tension among them, part excitement, part fear, and something they hadn't yet put into words. All three were there for the same reason: to document Ashwood Asylum, to finally see for themselves if the stories were true. James slowed as a rusted sign appeared through the fog, bent and nearly swallowed by vines. Ashwood State Hospital, a stay at 1894. The car rumbled over gravel and weeds as the path opened to a clearing. Before them stood the building. 3 stories of rotting brick and stone, windows shattered like dead eyes staring outward. The front doors hung loose on their hinges. Ivy strangled the structure's outer shell, and above the sky cracked with thunder, briefly illuminating the rooftop spire where the bell no longer rang. They stepped out into the rain, pulling jackets tight, their gear in hand. James led them in. The doors creaked open to reveal a lobby drenched in darkness. The scent of mold, rot, and old chemicals hit them instantly. The floor was scattered with broken glass and fallen ceiling tiles. The remnants of chairs and filing cabinets rusted and overturned. James clicked on his recorder. The static buzzed as he held it up. His voice sounded hollow as he spoke into it, almost lost in the space. Documenting entry into Ashwood. Time, 6:17 p.m. Weather conditions, heavy rain. Team, 3. Goal, overnight investigation. Unexplained activity recorded here from 1952 to 1984. Site abandoned after fire killed 32 patients. No full investigation. Rumors include disappearances, experiments, and voices. The others rolled their eyes, but followed him through a long corridor where paint peeled from the walls in hanging strips. There were rooms on either side, some still containing rotted beds and rusted wheelchairs. One had chains bolted to the wall. Another had symbols scrawled across the floor in some red-black stain. They set up their gear in what used to be the common area, a large open space with broken tables and a collapsed chandelier in the center. The ceiling above was charred from the fire that had supposedly started here. Leo unpacked the night vision cameras, placing them in corners. Marla set up the audio feed. James positioned motion sensors near the doorways. They spoke little as they worked, each one eyeing the shadows that seemed to press in from all directions. There was something about the building. It didn't feel like a place that was simply empty. It felt like a place that watched. When they finished, James noticed a photo frame still hanging crooked on the wall, somehow untouched. It was an old group shot, staff and patients, standing stiffly. But in the back corner, one figure had been violently scratched out, the paper torn through. Every group photo in the hospital archive had this same vandalism. The same figure, the same missing face. They moved down another hallway to explore the patient rooms. One, near the end, had a door that looked more burned than the others. Its metal handle was fused in place. James read aloud from the label on the wall beside it. Patient 83, no official name on record. The door was locked tight. They moved to the next room, one of the few with a partially intact bed. The walls were gouged with deep claw marks, the mattress torn open, and black stains spread beneath the frame. This is where she stayed, James said quietly. Who? Marla asked. Patient 83, the one nobody talked about. She was here for 11 years, then vanished. No discharge, no death certificate, just gone. Leo laughed nervously. Maybe she still lives here. Nobody laughed with him. They returned to the common area as the last light of day faded. The building had no power, but their gear cast a dim glow across the room. For hours, nothing happened. They reviewed the feeds. No movement, no sound. Just after midnight, a noise broke the silence. Soft and faint. A sob. It came from the east hallway, where the fire damage was worst. The sensors picked up no movement, but the audio caught it clearly. A low, dragging sob, as if from someone lost in unbearable grief. James stood, frozen. Then he slowly turned toward the hallway. Marla reached out to stop him. He ignored her. The hallway stretched into darkness, the beam of his flashlight trembling slightly. The door at the far end had once been sealed shut, blackened by fire and chained. Now, the chain lay on the floor. The door stood open a few inches. Cold air flowed from it, colder than the air around them. Smoke curled from the opening. James moved closer. As he did, the sound grew louder, not just crying now, but whispering. Words he couldn't make out. He raised his recorder. "Say that again," he whispered. The whispering stopped. Suddenly, the door creaked wider. Leo shouted for James to stop, but James pushed the door open. Inside, the floor was scorched black. The walls were bare brick, burned clean, and standing in the center of the room was a single metal chair. Straps still hung from its arms. James took a step inside. Behind him, the door slammed shut. The recorder clattered to the ground. From the hallway, Marla and Leo ran to the door, but it wouldn't budge. They shouted for James, kicked at the hinges. No answer. Then, from inside the room, came a scream. Not James's voice, but something inhuman, something broken. The lights flickered. The cameras in the common room cut to static, and etched into the wall, carved freshly in jagged letters, were 3 words. She never left.